Hey YNR fans! Welcome to YNR Trends, your Young and the Restless updates, shocking spoilers, and all the drama. So grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right into Genoa City's hottest gossip. The September 23, 2025 episode of The Young and the Restless opens with a mood that feels both heavy and uncertain, as though the entire canvas of Genoa City is holding its breath. The air inside the Abbott mansion is thick with tension as Kyle paces the living room, replaying Claire's words in his mind from the night before. She confessed something that rattled him to his core, something he isn't ready to accept but can't ignore either. The paternity questions surrounding her baby has now burst into the open, and Kyle's certainty about being the father is unraveling thread by thread. His mother, Diane, quietly watches him from the doorway, not sure if she should step in or let him stew in his own thoughts. Diane knows the pain of betrayal, the gut-wrenching twist of feeling lied to, and she fears her son is about to step into that very storm. But she also knows that Kyle's pride is as sharp as his father's, and if she pushes too hard, he will only shut her out further. Across town, at Newman Enterprises, Victoria sits in her office staring at a contract but not really seeing the words. Her mind is locked on Claire, her niece, and the growing scandal that threatens to ripple across the family name once again. Every time Victoria thinks the Newman family might finally settle into calm waters, another wave crashes in, leaving them struggling to stay afloat. She remembers the day Claire came into their lives, so broken, so desperate to belong, and she wonders if they failed her by not guiding her enough, by not protecting her from the kinds of mistakes that can leave scars for decades. When Victor barges into the office, cane tapping firmly against the marble floor, Victoria straightens, knowing her father has no patience for second-guessing. He tells her flatly that the Newman name will not be dragged through the mud because of a girl who couldn't keep her secrets straight. Victor's voice is as strong as ever, though age has slowed his stride, and his warning is clear: protect the family, or step aside. Victoria doesn't argue, but inside, she bristles. Protecting Claire may be messy, but abandoning her is something Victoria simply cannot do. Meanwhile, Sharon is back at Crimson Lights, the place that always seems to hold the echoes of every joy and heartbreak in Genoa City. She arranges mugs on the counter, trying to lose herself in routine, but her eyes keep drifting to the door as though she's expecting someone specific to walk in. It's Nick, of course, and when he finally does, the charged silence between them says everything. They came so close recently to mending what was broken, to rediscovering the comfort of each other's arms, but Nick's mistakes, his inability to let go of old patterns, have shattered that fragile bridge again. Sharon greets him warmly enough, but the cool edge beneath her tone doesn't escape him. Nick makes small talk about faith, about business, about anything other than the mess between them, but Sharon is no fool. She cuts through his attempts at distraction and asks him point-blank what he's really doing there. Nick doesn't answer right away. He just looks at her, and for a flicker of a moment, there's the boyish charm that once won her heart. But Sharon has lived too many years, cried too many tears, to let charm cover up the truth. Elsewhere, Kane Ashby lurks in the shadows of Chancellor Winters, uninvited but not unnoticed. He's been walking a fine line ever since returning to town, sometimes a phantom in the background, sometimes a grenade waiting to go off. Today, he's both. He overhears Jill on a tense call with Devon, her voice sharp as she insists that the company's reputation is hanging by a thread. Kane smirks because he knows he holds cards no one else realizes exist. Information, secrets, and proof of betrayals that could bring Devon, Nate, and even Billy to their knees. But what drives Kane more than revenge is Lily. Her name pulses in his veins like a curse and a prayer all at once. He remembers every kiss, every argument, every moment they nearly destroyed each other, and every moment they almost found their way back. To Kane, Lily is the unfinished chapter he refuses to close, and in his mind, the chaos swirling around the Newman and Abbott families is nothing compared to the storm he's preparing to unleash on the people who kept him from her. At Society, the restaurant is buzzing with chatter as Abby tries to keep everything running smoothly. She notices Audra in the corner booth, leaning across the table toward Kyle with an intensity that makes Abby's stomach twist. The sight of those two together feels like a recipe for trouble, and Abby debates whether to intervene or not. Audra has always been a master manipulator, and Abby knows that Kyle's current vulnerability makes him the perfect target. She watches as Audra places a comforting hand on Kyle's arm, her expression soft, her words laced with the kind of sympathy that's just convincing enough to make him lower his guard. Kyle wants to resist. He knows Audra's history, knows she thrives on secrets and seduction, but loneliness is a powerful drug. And in that moment, Kyle just wants someone to listen, someone to tell him he isn't crazy for doubting the future he thought he had. Back at the Abbott mansion, Jack is on a call with Ashley, who has been in Paris far longer than anyone expected. Their conversation is strained as Ashley admits she isn't sure when, or if, she's coming back. Jack tries to mask his worry, but deep down, he knows his sister is running from something more than memories. When he hangs up, he finds Diane waiting, her eyes reflecting the worry of a mother who fears for her son. She tells Jack about Kyle's state of mind, about the mess with Claire, and Jack's protective instincts kick in immediately. He may have made countless mistakes as a father, but when it comes to Kyle, his loyalty is absolute. Jack vows to uncover the truth about Claire's baby once and for all, even if it means crossing lines he swore he wouldn't cross again. At Newman Ranch, Nikki sips her martini with that practiced elegance that hides the tremor in her hand. She pretends she isn't rattled, but Victor sees through her. Nikki has always carried the weight of their family's scandals more heavily than anyone else, and the thought of another child, another scandal, another headline makes her heart ache. She asks Victor if he's truly prepared for the fallout of disowning Claire, and his silence speaks louder than any words. For all his talk of strength and reputation, Victor Newman is still a man who loves his family fiercely, even when they disappoint him. And Nikki knows that the choice he's about to make, whether to stand by Claire or cast her out, will leave scars on every member of their family. The episode of The Young and the Restless that aired on September 23, 2025, represents a microcosm of the show's enduring appeal and its meticulous execution of the daytime drama formula. Without the crutch of headlines or segmented analysis, the narrative unfolds as a continuous tapestry of interwoven conflicts, emotional revelations, and strategic power plays, all set against the familiar backdrop of Genoa City. The pacing is deliberate, eschewing explosive, singular events in favor of deepening existing character arcs and carefully advancing multiple storylines toward their inevitable, future crescendos. This particular day in the lives of these characters is less about earth-shattering revelations and more about the quiet, often painful, process of laying bare the consequences of past actions and setting the stage for confrontations to come. The emotional core of the episode revolves around the fractured relationship between Claire Grace and Kyle Abbott. Their interactions are charged with a palpable tension that stems from a history of betrayal, misguided intentions, and unresolved affection. The scenes between them are masterclasses in subtext, where what is left unsaid carries as much weight as the dialogue itself. Kyle's attempts to navigate this new, cautious dynamic are fraught with his own internal conflict. He is a man torn between a genuine, if belated, concern for Claire's well-being and the lingering resentment from the ways their past entanglements have impacted his life and his relationship with his family, particularly his father, Jack Abbott. Claire, on the other hand, embodies a defensive vulnerability. Her trust has been profoundly damaged, and every offer of help from Kyle is met with a well-honed skepticism. She is rebuilding her life, and his presence represents a link to a period of chaos and manipulation, primarily orchestrated by the formidable Jordan. The episode smartly avoids easy reconciliation, instead choosing to sit in the uncomfortable space of a relationship that is irreparably broken yet still somehow tethered by a complex history. This creates a compelling slow burn, as the audience is left to wonder if these two damaged individuals can find a way to coexist, or if their shared past will forever poison any possibility of a future, even a platonic one. Simultaneously, the Abbott household continues to be a center of quiet turmoil, with Jack Abbott serving as the patriarch attempting to steady a ship constantly battered by emotional storms. Jack's role in this episode is that of a mediator and a worried father, his concern for Kyle evident in every carefully chosen word and weary expression. His interactions with Kyle are layered with the history of the Abbott family, a legacy of business acumen, personal failings, and a relentless pressure to uphold a certain name. Jack represents the old guard, a man who has seen countless scandals and betrayals, and who understands that family strife is often the most damaging of all. His attempts to guide Kyle are met with the resistance of a son who is determined to carve his own path, even if that path is currently leading him through a thicket of regret and confusion. This generational dynamic is a staple of the series, and it is handled here with a subtlety that avoids melodrama, instead focusing on the genuine, if sometimes frustrating, love between a father and his son. The Abbott family scenes provide a grounding effect, a reminder that behind the corporate takeovers and romantic entanglements, the show is, at its heart, about family legacies and the burdens they impose. In stark contrast to the emotional intimacy of the Claire and Kyle storyline, the world of Jabot Cosmetics and Chancellor Winters provides the episode with its necessary corporate intrigue. Here, the stakes are financial and professional, but they are portrayed with the same life-or-death seriousness as any personal betrayal. The power struggles within these companies are not merely about market share or profit margins, they are about legacy, ego, and revenge. Billy Abbott, forever wrestling with his place in the shadow of his brother Jack, is often at the center of this maelstrom. His actions are driven by a complex mix of a desire to prove his own worth and a deep-seated insecurity that has been a character hallmark for decades. In this episode, his maneuvering is particularly sharp, as he positions himself against rivals, both seen and unseen. The corporate boardroom scenes are charged with a different kind of electricity, the sharp exchange of words, the unspoken threats veiled in corporate jargon, the strategic alliances formed and broken with a handshake or a glare. This aspect of the narrative serves as a crucial counterbalance, ensuring that the show's scope remains broad, reflecting the fact that for these characters, personal and professional lives are inextricably linked. A setback in the boardroom can unravel a marriage, and a heartbreak at home can lead to a catastrophic business decision. The episode also dedicates significant time to the exploration of newer or rekindled romantic entanglements, understanding that romance is the lifeblood of the daytime soap opera. However, true to the genre's complexity, no relationship is presented as purely idyllic. Each pairing is fraught with its own unique set of complications. A budding romance is shadowed by the ghost of a former lover or the scheming of a third party who seeks to derail it for their own purposes. An established couple finds themselves facing a new test, perhaps a secret from the past that threatens to resurface or a fundamental disagreement about the future. The writing in these romantic subplots is adept at avoiding cliché by ensuring that the conflicts feel organic to the characters involved. The dialogue in these scenes is often a delicate dance of revelation and concealment, as characters navigate how much of their true feelings and fears to expose to their partners. This creates a sense of perpetual suspense, as the audience is privy to information that the characters are not, waiting for the moment when a carefully kept secret will inevitably explode into the open, devastating the fragile trust that has been built. A character who often serves as the catalyst for such explosions is Sally Spectra. Her presence in any storyline injects a potent combination of creativity, ambition, and a certain chaotic energy. Sally is a survivor, a fighter who has clawed her way up from nothing, and this background informs every decision she makes. In this episode, her ambitions are clear, whether they are focused on her fashion career or on securing her personal happiness. However, her methods are often questionable, placing her in a morally ambiguous space that makes her one of the show's most compelling figures. Is she a heroine driven by a justifiable desire for success and stability, or is she an antagonist willing to trample others to get what she wants? The episode wisely refuses to provide a simple answer, instead presenting her actions and their motivations with a degree of sympathy even when they venture into treacherous territory. Her interactions are sharp, her wit a weapon, and her vulnerability a carefully guarded secret. She is a reminder that in Genoa City, the line between ally and adversary is perpetually blurred. Underpinning all these interconnected narratives is the ever-present threat of Jordan, a villain whose influence is felt even in her absence. Jordan is not a mustache-twirling caricature but a sophisticated and deeply menacing figure whose schemes are as psychological as they are practical. The characters' references to her, the fear in their eyes when her name is mentioned, and the lingering damage she has inflicted all serve to elevate her as a pervasive threat. She is the specter haunting Genoa City, the embodiment of past sins that refuse to stay buried. The episode uses this looming threat to create a unifying sense of dread that ties the various storylines together. Claire's paranoia, Kyle's guilt, and the general air of unease that permeates the lives of those who crossed Jordan's path all stem from the central source of conflict. This demonstrates a sophisticated approach to serialized storytelling, where a single antagonist can exert narrative pressure across the entire canvas of the show without needing to appear in every scene. The technical execution of the episode is seamlessly aligned with its narrative goals. The direction is focused on intimate close-ups, allowing the audience to read every flicker of emotion on the actors' faces, a tactic essential for a genre so reliant on subtext and internal conflict. The lighting in the Genoa City Athletic Club is warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the cold, sterile, and often ominous lighting of corporate offices or the dim, intimate lighting of late-night confrontations in characters' homes. The score, a hallmark of the series, swells at precisely the right moments to underscore emotional beats without overwhelming the scene, guiding the audience's emotional response with a practiced hand. The editing maintains a fluid rhythm, cutting between the various storylines in a way that creates a cohesive whole rather than a disjointed collection of scenes. Each transition feels purposeful, often leaving one storyline on a cliffhanger, a lingering question, a charged glance, before moving to the next, a technique that maintains a relentless narrative momentum and ensures viewer engagement throughout the entire hour. In conclusion, the September 23, 2025 episode of The Young and the Restless is a testament to the show's remarkable consistency and its deep understanding of its own genre. It is an episode that prioritizes character development and the intricate weaving of multiple plot threads over cheap, momentary shocks. By focusing on the aftermath of decisions and the slow, painful process of emotional recovery, the writing demonstrates a respect for both its characters and its audience. The conflicts feel earned, the emotions genuine, and the suspense meticulously built. It captures the essence of what has made the series a daytime television institution for decades, the exploration of universal themes of love, betrayal, ambition, and family within the heightened, yet strangely relatable, world of Genoa City. The episode does not seek to reinvent the wheel but instead polishes it to a brilliant shine, proving that the power of soap opera storytelling lies not in the destination, but in the rich, complicated, and endlessly engaging journey. It is a finely crafted piece of serialized drama that honors its legacy while steadily, confidently, marching its characters toward an uncertain and undoubtedly dramatic future.